neighbor. Who was his neighbor? You know, I went to a seminary up at Emory University. And one of the cool things of going to school up there was they had what they would call honorary professors. People they bring in for a year or two, they might teach a course or two over the course of the time that they were serving at school. So I got to meet President Jimmy Carter one time. He was teaching an ethics class after he was far retired, many years retired from being President of the United States, but very active in Habitat for Humanity as he is today. And then there was this other gentleman. I want to share the story of this man who was another professor at our school. He was born on October 7th, 1931. He had a father that was a principal of the school, and he had a mom that worked in the house for the blind. And as she worked in the house for the blind, she was just a cook and a cleaner. That's the things that she did. He was a black man, black boy growing up. He was growing up in South Africa at the time. And he came to realize over time that his life was different than the life of the white people that lived in the country. And at the same time, he tells stories of how life was good. They made the best of it. What they did was they would do things like, as far as toys, he would talk about taking wires and bending them into different shapes, and they would make toys out of wires. And they put little knobs on the ends, and they could make them into cars and things like that. As his life progressed along, one day he was walking with his mom. And this other man was coming up the street. He was a white man. He was a priest. And the priest looked at his mom and he tipped his cap to her. And for him, that was one of the most powerful moments of his life. It transformed the way that he thought. In that moment, he realized that discrimination doesn't have to be the rule. That priest, who had a name, was Trevor Huddleston, who tipped his hat. That priest helped him to see the power of religion and the power of faith in a person's life. 12 years old, that guy became infected with tuberculosis. And he nearly died of tuberculosis, the lung diseases that consumed him, but he didn't die. But the idea of going through tuberculosis gave him another dream. He said, you know what, as a result, my dream then was to become a doctor. And so he started attaining towards that. And he went to school, and he's going to a place called Bantu High School. And as he's going through school, he had these teachers that were pouring into him, and in spite of the fact that things weren't as good for them as a black person in Africa, he was still getting a wonderful education with people that were helping him to believe and to see the potential that existed inside of himself. Unfortunately, his family didn't have enough money for him to be able to go to medical school, even though he got accepted to a medical school. And he became a teacher instead. And so he went through college to become a teacher, and off he goes into teaching inside of the schools. And then a little while later, the system of government changed to a little bit more extreme version called apartheid, where the funding changed dynamically. And now, instead of having the opportunity to help his students achieve some of the things that he was hoping to achieve, to help them to be able to see the potential that existed inside of them, they started having what they called Bantu education. They called it gutter education. Because they got about 1/10 the funding of a white child who went to school. So he stepped away from being a teacher, because he didn't want to be a part of a system like that. Then he remembered the story of the priest in his life. And he decided to enroll in seminary, and so he went off to become a priest. And in the 1960s, he became a deacon, then he became a priest, and then he became dean of the school in Johannesburg. No black person had ever been appointed dean of this school. He's the first one. And so he's going along on this journey with this career, and as he's going along, he got to this place where people started to notice him. His name is Desmond Tutu. Bishop Desmond Tutu. He ended up getting the Nobel Peace Prize for his heart, for his work, for his words to make sure that apartheid came to an end. Here's what he said. I never doubted that ultimately we were going to be free. Because ultimately I knew there was no way in which a lie could prevail over the truth. Darkness over light. Death over life. Bishop Desmond Tutu is the Good Samaritan. He's the person that saw a need and stepped up.